you, you and I caught a good portion of that game together, and you watched it all. And the Fins beat the Jets, but the story of this game feels obviously much bigger because you lose Tyreek Hill to the gruesome leg injury, the knee injury, excuse me, and then also on top of that, like the Jets kind of felt like the better team that just kept on like hitting their head against the wall, Cam.
Yeah, it's that meme. But what cost? But at what
Yes.
cost? You know.
Yeah,
And
it's hard.
so,
That's a hard phrase to get, Cam. Like, we can try
yeah.
to, but at what cost?
But at what
That's a big word
cost,
for
right?
him.
We're thinking here on a Tuesday morning. We say the Dolphins have a win, but at what cost? And honestly, as I was in the locker room after the game, it's a weird feeling because you finally get that victory, but guys aren't super excited because even though you don't know, you know that's the end of Tyreek Hill as a Dolphin. That's your best player. That's your hope for the grand land of the ball. And like you said, all the issues aren't fixed. You beat the Jets, which is better than losing to the Jets, but it's not this grand old trophy performance. You know, it's probably one of the worst 3 or 4 football teams in the league. They got ran all over, and so I think you want to see the consistency. If you're the Dolphins fans, you're happy that you got a win, but I think we're far from saying that they're back yet.
I thought, Cam, and I know a lot of people are trying to project and figure out, will Tyreek Hill ever play again, or
Mm-hmm.
will he ever play in a Dolphins jersey again? Scrap that. We'll get to that later. I didn't think I was ever going to see Darren Waller play again.
Right.
What was that?
Hey, man, I was the same. I thought there was a good chance that we saw him being a rapper before we saw him catching touchdowns
Yeah.
in Miami. But look, he said that he's been trying to get back. And yeah, the timing wasn't great coming off retirement, hadn't played in 2 years, and then you get all these random injuries right before getting play. But I'll tell you what, he is exactly what they were missing as a red zone threat. He only played mostly in those short yardage red zone situations. But man, when you got to do 6'6", who you can just throw it 8 feet in the end zone, he's gonna come down with it. That makes a difference. So Darren Waller, he's got a song that said "I got the beam on me," and I know he was blasting that "I got the beam on me" as he was driving home from the stadium last night.
What was it like I guarantee you he was blasting that and probably a lot more all through the night. You got to be happy when you hadn't played a football game in 2 years and you get
Yeah,
2 touchdowns on primetime television.
yeah, for sure.
Darren Waller he got the game ball, right, in the locker room
Yeah,
last
yeah,
night.
he got one of them. Tyrell Dodson, who had a big sack, got another one as well. But yeah, the Dolphins players have tried to tell us and Mike McDaniel that like this was coming, and forgive us for not believing them because we hadn't seen them for a couple months, but they were right. This was coming. They did have something cooking, and Tua seemed to love throwing to somebody taller than 5'10". Like it seems like all their receivers are, and so maybe they got something. Maybe they got something in Darren Waller.
Um, a lot of the coverage of the Dolphins this year and a lot of the questions that are going to come in and out of each of their games is going to be, okay, did this save Mike McDaniel his
Yeah.
job or did this lose him his job? Clearly the win is going to help,
Yep.
but what does it feel like in and around that organization Mike McDaniel's job security actually is? Because it feels like sure you get a win, but the Dolphins still feel like this kind of like dead man walking team where everybody's just waiting for it to kind of all collapse.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a verdict on their season at the end of the year, regardless. And so, yes, if they don't make the playoffs, if they have a losing record, there's a real chance that this is the end of this current era. That being said, I never believed that we were at an imminent place. Like I know before the Buffalo game, things got really loud of if it was ugly, Stephen Ross can make a decision. I never got that feel. Stephen Ross doesn't want to be embarrassed. Stephen Ross doesn't want people not to care, but I think he does want to have patience. And so I do think at this stage, you see Mike McDaniel last throughout the year. And then after the year, based on the results, they'll make a call. So that's my view on his job security. But I think more importantly for the direction of the Dolphins, this Tyreek Hill injury kind of creates a interesting question. If the Dolphins are 3-5, 4-6 at the deadline, not having their best player due to injury, do they still push up with the thought that we're all in on playoffs, or do they start selling parts? That was already going to be a question when Tyreek was there, and I don't know the answer. And that's where ownership that question comes in. Do you let your dudes do the job and finish it out regardless? Or do you come in and say, hey, we need to go ahead and save some money, get some draft picks, and plan for 26?
And that's the thing. I don't think Tyreek Hill's contract is guaranteed in 2026, so it feels almost guaranteed that he will not ever play another game for the Dolphins. But what's your feel around? I mean, he's not going out like this. We're going to see him play NFL football again if the knee actually heals back correctly.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, he's a competitor. I won't sugarcoat it with you. This is a very serious injury. Like, he's got multiple ligaments torn, at least 2, maybe 3, including the ACL, a knee dislocation. It would be a miraculous recovery for him to even be ready for the start of the 2026 season, regardless of what uniform he has on. So you got to think about it. This is a guy who's a speed playmaker at the first and foremost. This is a guy that's about to turn 32 years old next year. Look, heck of a player, heck of a talent. I wouldn't want to rule him out, but man, that is going to be a hard thing for him to come back from and be the same player. Does he want to come back just to prove he comes back, or does he only want to come back if he's going to be the cheetah that we once saw? And again, we saw Nick Chubb go through an injury, a knee dislocation with a lot of these things. He came back, he's playing, but he's certainly not the same Nick Chubb and may not ever be the same Nick Chubb again. And I think that's something that we'll have to ask, as Tyreek goes through this lengthy recovery.
Definitely so. And Woody Marks is he's howling. If I do say so myself.
Yeah. Fantasy waiver wire number 1, I bet, for a lot of people in their leagues. Woody Marks. You might need him. You might need him on your fantasy team the way it's been looking. Last time I checked.
Well, you know what? People don't need to know that. I'm hustling in silence right now. Wait till like week 8 or 9. That's when I like to peak. Cameron Wolf joining us here on Theoretically Speaking here on a Tuesday following a Monday Night Football win from the Miami Dolphins. Let's turn away from the Dolphins